everybody, this is Kirsho here. Now then, whenever we last left off, we have just discovered that Deku's mom, Inko, the doctor that has been taking care of her, was actually working with All for One. Along with that, Deku actually did have to take down a experimental Nomu. He did so with ease, since he was still in the process of being turned. Now, with that being said, the heroes are still on the look for Katsuki Bakugo, and they've gotten information from Miss Yayorozu that they have been busy. They have gotten the location of the villain's base. Not just that, they also believe this to be the actual Nomu factory, so the base may actually be close by. Now, with that, the heroes are trying to plan and actually coordinate an attack. But let us head back over to Deku and Todoroki. Deku, he is having a nightmare. He is breathing heavily and a bit rapid. Along with, he feels pressure on his chest. But inside his head, this is what is happening. He sees a fight. Him and his dad fighting against a villain. And this time, they lose. They don't win. Deku sees the world crumble around him, but the villain will begin to speak. Before they can even say anything, suddenly it stops. The villain just disappears and the world comes back to him. As it's replaced by eerie dread with a bit of happiness, which is a bit confusing. As Deku would actually have a nice dream. He would then wake up a couple of minutes later to Todoroki. Him and her apparently fell asleep on the couch. So she's kind of just been there to comfort him whenever she needs to. Besides, this was nice. It was refreshing not to have to wear that mask for once. And, well, it was peaceful. He feels a bit of hope, actually. Now then, everyone would, get things ready. All Might, he would have come by the dorms to talk with his son. Along with Momo, which kinda confused Todoroki for a minute. Deku, he would explain things after the conversation, though. Explaining that his dad, he was looking for information about the villain's hideouts. He got a tracker from Momo, and he was actually talking to me. However, he does want me to go with him. If they're going to be attacking it, he wants me to be there to end this. But, well, that's the thing. If I go, there's a very good likelihood that things will end well. If my dad thought he could take this villain down alone, he would. He wouldn't try and bring anyone else in. Otherwise, he'd just be adding to the people he could have used against him. No. With that, Todoroki just explained to Deku that sounds pretty good then, but you gotta remember, this is a bit more like family business. You're just as much involved in this as your dad is. I think the reason he wants you to go is because he knows we'd probably just sneak out anyway. You know, I really didn't think about it like that. But when you say it out loud, it makes a lot more sense than what I thought. Well, obviously. Now, Deku and Todoroki, they would hang out until later into the night, an actual day. Everyone, they're just kind of relaxing and resting while some other people are actually training. They are trying to train their physical bodies and actually start getting things together. Momo, she's actually making good progress and strides with her own training, since she gradually increases her own weight. Well, the weight she uses for training. And she's actually trying to find a way to work with her quirk. She's been able to make more advanced technology and a bit more things that are a bit complicated to make. But everyone else has also been getting better with their own quirks. Kirishima and Bakugo respectively. Nothing. Now, with that, later that night, All Might would come by and he would knock on the door, as Deku would open it and basically wave off everyone. However, Todoroki would somewhat stop him. She would tell him that she needs to come back to him, okay? To where Deku would just pull her in, pull her close to him, saying that, of course he's going to come back. It's going to take a lot to have to stop me from coming back to you. Besides, even then, I'm stubborn. That you are. As they would both kiss. And Deku would leave. Now, while that's happening, Deku, him and All Might would walk away from the dorms. As Deku, he would go to get his hero suit. Now, he takes all the weights that he uses for training out of the suit, and actually just leaves it at that. He doesn't need them, so he just leaves with the suit, changing into it and getting ready. He's a bit nervous, but All Might would just calm him down, saying that it's good to be nervous, but you need to remember, we need to be a bit more stealthy on this in our approach. If we are going to take down the villain, then we must do it now. But that's just it. There's other problems. If this villain, if he's gotten stronger or more powerful, then he is going to be a very big problem for us. Yeah, I understand, Dad. Yes, okay, well, it's not just that. Whenever we need to take any opportunity we have to attack. So, as All Might would turn to Deku, saying that, if you need to, I give you permission to go all out. However, do not break any bones or overexert yourself, unless you absolutely think it is necessary. Deku just nodding, as they would leave, getting over to the villain's base. Deku, he would be with his dad, as they are ready. All Might would have instructed Deku to take a secondary lead on this. Basically, Deku would be ready, as he'd be floating outside the villain's window, waiting for his cue. As All Might would have burst through the door, Deku, he would have gotten ready, immediately bursting through the window, as he would have thrown his cape upwards, basically throwing it out of the way. Now, as soon as that happens, Deku would begin. He would throw his cape upwards as Dobby would stand up, immediately going to blast fire straight at Deku, since Dobby was the closest to the window. Now, with that being said, All Might, him and the rest of the heroes would take care of the villains that they took care of in canon, while Deku, he focuses on Dobby. Dobby goes to blast fire at Deku, but Deku would just use his cape to basically run at him. His cape is fireproof and bulletproof, in case he ever needed to use it to protect someone. So it is a twofer. Now, as soon as Deku gets close enough to Dobby, he would throw a fist straight through his cape, punching into him, knocking him out with a single punch. As Toga would turn, trying to slash upwards at Deku. Deku just dodging the knife, as he would have grabbed it by the other side of the blade, and broke it off, actually just grabbing Toka by the back of the neck and slamming her into the ground, as he would tell her that she's under arrest. Now, with that, the heroes would begin to somewhat cheer. They think that they're safe, they did it, they took down the villains. However, this is whenever Shigaraki and the rest of the league would start getting covered in this strange liquid. Deku, he would have immediately let go of Toga as he just jumps backwards, as they would all disappear. Now then, All Might, he would get annoyed, thinking that that was not supposed to happen. He would run over, telling Deku that they need to leave, as he would just jump through the window and fly into the distance. Deku doing the same thing. Now, with that, over at the other side of town with the other base, All Might would have arrived in 6 to 7 seconds, as he would collide with All For One and Deku would come flying in. Deku, he actually does smash an All For One's side, sending him flying, as All Might would start someone laughing at that. All For One getting annoyed, forming the All Might killing weapon, saying that this is annoying. You understand this, correct, hero? I do. But I'm not going to make the same mistake I made last time, All For One. Well, of course you aren't. You can't make mistakes when you're dead. Really. Say that all you want, but I will be the symbol. Even if I die during this fight, it will mean nothing. I have carried my legacy to the next generation. Even then, my son, he can stop you. That is why he's here. Me and him plan on stopping you together, so that day does not come. I have put too much confidence and, well, training into him. For that, I am terribly sorry, Midoriya. However, I wanted to prepare you for if this day ever came. Oh, save me the sob story, hero. As All For One began turning his hands into weapons, the All Might killing ones. As Deku sees a familiar quirk, he sees Muscular's quirk in All For One's arsenal, thinking that that's not good, telling his dad that they need to start, well, getting him now. As All Might would charge up one for all, and so would Deku. Deku turns on Kaioken and full Howling. As the battle would begin, Deku, he just blitzes forward as he tries to come in, smashing All For One in the face. However, a spike would shoot outwards and Deku would have to jump backwards. He did not expect that. All Might just telling him to be careful and be on guard, as Deku and him would begin running around the villain. These two are trying to think of a good way to get the villain, since anytime they get close enough, he can try and stab them or at least throw spikes at them. As All Might would tell Deku that he needs to, well, gain a bit more control over One For All. This challenge will be your greatest, so. Now, All Might and Deku, they are running around All For One, as they're basically running actual circles around him. All Might begins to tell Deku that take any opportunity you can to attack, as All Might would have blitzed in and immediately smashed All For One in the side as he tries to throw a flurry of punches into his face. All For One basically swinging the arm outwards, throwing an immense wave of air pressure, destroying 5 to 7 buildings behind All Might. All Might would have turned, seeing that there's civilians over there. So he would actually start by countering Deku by just basically turning the tornado away, running in the opposite direction. All Might would begin telling Deku that anytime All For One tries to attack, don't let it happen. As the two would just begin to fight with All For One. Deku rushes in as he tries to actually throw a punch and actually rip some things out of that weapon. Deku would have thrown his hands forward, actually smashing All For One into the side as he tries to throw punches into his chest and his arms. All Might and Deku actually have to be backed away. All Might getting closer to the civilians as Deku would too. Deku's protecting the ones All Might is a bit out of range from. All for One cannot use them as leverage. So he would have created both these giant weapons and blitzed forward, as All Might would counter his punch. The hand is slowly growing bigger and bigger and bigger, overpowering All Might, as Deku would have thrown at his left arm, countering the left arm, as it is also growing larger. All Might, he is having trouble. Deku, however, he's turning up his Kaioken. He turns it up from times 30 to times 40, as he turns up One for All to around 60 to 70%. His body hates him right now. He cannot tell what is going on. Things are starting to get a bit fuzzy and a bit dizzy, but he needs to continue. This is going to be a fight for the ages. Something people will remember, as All Might would turn up 1,000,000%. Deku would watch as All Might immediately just charged up with his power. Deku never seeing it before. All Might immediately throwing his left arm outwards, as he would have thrown his body backwards and thrown it forwards as hard as possible. As he taps into potential Deku didn't know he even had. Deku getting ready. As Deku would have thrown forward what can be best described as over 100% of One for All. Whatever Deku just threw forward, it was basically 70% times, well, 40. So let's see. 70% times 40, well, 40. I want to say that that's about 2,800% of One for All. Now, with that being said, Deku, he would watch as All for One goes sent flying, as his right arm would basically be detached. All Might, he runs forward, as he begins to lay into the villain, beginning to punch at him and do anything he can to try and stop him. As Deku would rush forward too, turning up the Kaioken to times 50, as he runs over trying to hold down this arm, beginning to actually punch away and actually take out spikes in it that he knows are dangerous. As All Might, he would try and restrain All for One. All for One, however, he does one thing All Might didn't expect. Opens his mouth, and there is a bomb. All for One immediately spits it forward as he uses a creation quirk, blinding All Might as he would have thrown his left hand towards him and actually stab him in the arm, along with getting him in the right side of his body and his right upper leg. Now, All Might, he would have used his body, and he would have actually used his left arm to basically throw a punch straight into All for One's armpit, basically. As throwing a punch right there, it's one of the weakest points in his arm. As All Might would throw this punch, All for One gets sent flying. All Might, he's actually really tired and exhausted. Now he has to deal with this. So, that's not going to be easy. He looks over to see Deku. He's much worse for wear. Deku, he's panting heavily. And All Might can tell that his body is starting to hit his physical limits. This is not good. They need to end this now. As All Might would turn to his son, saying that he has done a good job. Listen to me. What I do next, it is not going to be easy for me to do. So please just remember, you are my successor. You are my son. And once and for all, the legacy you carry, it is what will be amazing. What are you talking about, Dad? Well, son, we both know I was losing power. The more you gain control over this quirk, the less I have. So, I better use everything I have to take him down. As All Might would tell Deku to stand down. Deku dropping out of Kaioken and One for All. as he somewhat falls on his hands and knees, watching as his dad immediately leaves his vision. A large cloud is being left in the wake, as All Might and All For One begin to fight. All Might's going at 1,000,000% as he can see All For One up in the air. Whatever is happening, All For One, he's looking around, and all of a sudden he just gets thrown in a different direction. Another one, another one, another one. Whatever's going on is it's insane, it's incredible. Deku can't even see his dad. All Might, he's using as much power as possible. He's socking in All For One and trying to take out whatever he can. He's using every quirk he has at his disposal. Hardening quirks, acid quirks, weird quirks. Anything he has to try and counter All Might. These are not working. Everything All Might has thrown at him, he is basically just taking, as All Might would have sent a final punch. He would have yelled United States of Smash, as he would have sent All For One barreling into the earth. And down, as he left All For One in the crater. All Might, he just begins to fall back to the earth, as he would fall landing on the ground, panting very, very heavily. As he would watch the number 2 hero cough up quite a bit of blood. As Deku, he would come limping back over, asking his dad if that was it. "Are you okay?" "Yes, well, I thought it would have taken more." Now, before that can even continue, this is whenever All Might would see Deku. He just starts to cough up blood, and he looks down. All For One sent a spike straight through the back of Deku's chest, hitting him in the lung. As All Might, his eyes would widen, and he would run forward, immediately grabbing his son. All For One, somewhat just holding up a hand as he somewhat starts to laugh, thinking that he just killed Midoriya. As the figure would retract, and All For One begin to cough. All Might, he gets annoyed. Deku, he just begins to lay there, somewhat coughing and actually gasping for air, trying to catch his breath. As medical heroes would arrive, running onto the battlefield. All Might, he would have immediately turned to see them, as he just sets Deku down very carefully, telling his son that he's sorry, but he needs to finish this now. Please. As the heroes, they would have grabbed Deku, immediately just basically carrying him away, as Deku, his vision's blurry, shaky, and he's not sure what's even going on. He can't see through one of his eyes, as he can see a figure, what looks to be his dad's costume, as it would disappear once again. And he hears a loud boom, as Deku passes out. Now then, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.